Hello everybody, welcome to another true review. Today I'm bringing you the Banner Saga on the Xbox One. It's made by a group of former BioWare developers who left to form a indie studio called Stoic. Now this game has been out a while on the PC and it's finally made its transition over to the consoles, and I'm really glad it did because this is a really impressive game, especially if you're a fan of turn-based strategy games, which this is. Plays much in the vein of the old XCOM games, or more recently the rebooted version of them, where the meat of the game is played through turn-based strategy, where you fight on a grid-based system, moving your heroes around trying to defeat the enemy and progress that way. But the game has so much more to it, because in between battles there's a separate game in itself which is sometimes more important than the actual battles itself, but I'll go into that in a moment. And the game's set in the Nordic region. It plays a group of humans and Nordic giants called Vals, who kind of get on with one another, though they're all trying to one-up each other, saying that their race is better. They're brought together by a common enemy called the Dredge, who are black armour-clad warriors who are the game's antagonists and become quickly a thorn in your side, even as early as the first few chapters. Now, how the game plays out is several stages to the actual gameplay itself. The first stage is the travelling stage. You see the caravan moving along the terrain, and at various points of the journey you will hit encounters, which are depicted by text windows. It tells you what the situation is. It could be that you meet a group of refugees on the edge of the road, or there's a horse and cart that needs mending. Do you want to stop and help them and things like that? Or there's maybe a group of displaced fighters. Do you want to recruit them? Do you want to give them supplies or send them on the way, or do you want to ignore them completely? And you have to make a decision on what you want to do. Whilst this might seem just a little bit like, why are you doing this? It's actually an important factor in the game, because an important factor of this stage in the game is time management. You're trying to get from A to B. Now, do you go there as quickly as possible, or do you take your time? Now, the reason I say that is because you have two important things to manage. You've got the morale of your army, and you also have your food supply. You march your army into the ground, which will lower the morale, but will keep supplies, which are obviously in short supply, will keep supplies well stocked. Or do you take your time, which will require more rest stops, take more days up, and use more food? So you have to balance this, and this is where these random encounters come into play, because the decisions you make may award you more supplies. It may cost you supplies if it's a trick or an ambush or something goes wrong. It could be that you recruit more troops, it could be you lose troops, it could be even that you're completely ambushed by the Dredge or some other faction and you actually have to go into a full-fledged battle. These random encounters, when they do actually turn into a battle as well, again, they're presented with several options. You can commit more troops, less troops, you can decide to just charge in with your heroes, you can use formation strategies, you can choose to just hold your position and hold your line, and this really kind of depicts the difficulty of the battle you're going to encounter and determines how many actual troops of your army you're going to use. It's kind of like how much influence your heroes are actually going to be. If your heroes take the brunt of the battle, then you're going to actually lose less physical troops yourself to your army, which may benefit you in the long run. But it will be a harder battle to yourself and you may obviously lose. Or do you take it easier, where you commit more troops by holding position maybe, and instead of fighting say 6-7 enemies, you're only presented with 3 enemies to kill when you actually get to the battle. But by winning that battle, because you've committed more troops, you'll actually have more troops deducted from the grand sum of your army. So it's a case of a fine balancing act. The second stage of the game is when you're in a settlement or a town. Now, what you can do in here, you can do a practice battle with your characters to get used to them, you can go into a training screen, or you can choose to rest. Now, rest can be a double-edged sword. If you rest, it'll boost the morale, but it'll also use a day up and in turn use some supplies up as well. So it's a fine balancing act. And in these settlements as well, if it's a town or a village or a castle, you can actually go into a shop in these areas and be able to buy more supplies. And the game's currency system is a system called Renown. Now, you earn that by killing enemies, completing these random encounters with a positive outcome. It's basically like renown is reputation, and you spend these reputation points to buy supplies. Some of the supplies have a conversion rate of like 1 to 1, some of them have 4 to 1, so you have to be very careful when you are buying these supplies. In these shops as well, you can buy items which boost certain statistics of your characters as well. The thing is with the renown aspects of the game though, is renown is also used to level up your characters, so again it's a balancing act between do you level your characters up or do you buy resources to actually make your army survive a lot better. Then the third aspect of the game is the actual turn-based battles as well. This is the meat of the game, to be honest with you, and it works on a really simple yet effective system. You've got 2 energy bars. You've got an armor bar, which is blue, and you've got a strength bar, which is red. The armor is self-explanatory, but the red bar is, while not also health, it actually does physically resemble strength as well. So the more health you have, or more strength you have, the harder you will hit. So by not only reducing an enemy's strength, you're reducing their health, you're actually reducing how hard they can retaliate back to you as well. Problem is, to get through to do damage to this health, you have to reduce the unit's armor, and that's where the strategy comes in. You have to use a combination of the different classes available to you to break the armor down so you can actually get at the strength. And it's kind of like a fine balancing act of measuring your attacks against the armor and health, because there's no good spending 5 turns reducing the armor of a class down to 0 when it's hitting you for massive damage. You need to kind of like hit that happy medium in between, and that's where the strategy of it all comes into place. Now graphically this game is amazing. It's got an animated cartoon look to it. The cutscenes are animated and voice acted. There's some cutscenes which are not voice acted and just through text, which I'm not sure why that is. But the graphics throughout, whether it's the cutscenes or the actual battles themselves, are a lovely kind of cel-shaded animation kind of style to them, and really gives this game a unique look and unique feel. The only criticism I've really got for this game is that the controls haven't translated perfectly from a PC to a console. Obviously these games are ideally controlled with a mouse, but in this case the control pad feels a little bit cumbersome at times. It does a pretty good job, admittedly, but there is just that time where it feels a little bit clunky. In terms of achievements, it's probably going to be a little bit of a tricky list. It's going to take a while to get all the achievements because the game's quite sizable. I'm not sure if the 3 difficulty levels stack. I'm pretty sure that they do, but multiple playthroughs are going to be needed because some achievements nullify others, and unfortunately it's not one of those games where you can create a save point and then flick back to it to get the alternative achievement, because some of the achievements require a little bit of setting up to actually do. Now overall I'm going to give Banner Saga an amazing 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed this game. It probably doesn't translate very well to making a YouTube video review because the action's not very fast paced at all. If you're looking for a fast paced action game, this isn't the game for you. If you're looking for a game where you have to think about it, you have to plan ahead, it's a bit like a game of chess really. If you want something where you have got to use a bit of grey matter, and go for this. It's definitely worth it. It's reasonably priced. It's actually amazingly priced for the amount of content you get compared to some other titles out there that are available to download. So I can't recommend this game highly enough. I'm going to enjoy this game an awful lot, and multiple playthroughs I don't mind when a game is such high quality. So thanks for watching everybody. Hope you enjoyed that review. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and if you do want to follow me on my various social media pages, it does help me build the channel and get these reviews to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.